All right, Rajiv. So today we're going to talk about what's happening in the world of AI. And I was thinking maybe we should specifically take the latest quarterly results that have come up of the big tech companies, right? And we'll take two companies today, Tesla and Alphabet. Obviously, those are known names in the industry, and both these companies are doing a lot in the AI space. So I thought maybe we should just sit down and just look at their results, just try to read between the lines and the key messages they're giving in terms of how they're approaching their initiatives in the AI space and what all they are doing, etc. So maybe we start with Tesla, and just take us through their results and also some of the projections that they're making for future and the AI bets they're taking. Over to you, Rajiv. Just
Yep,
take us to that.
absolutely. Sure, Raju. Yeah, that's a great idea. We have been thinking about it, so let's do that. So let's start with Tesla and then Alphabet, two very exciting companies to look into. So I think we will look into these from three aspects. One is briefly touching upon how did they do in terms of numbers, right? Because we are also investors in many of this big tech, so that will interest us. One second, I think we will look at their overall business model, high level. And third, then we will see how they're doing in terms of AI, what is happening in AI in those companies, right? So Tesla overall revenue for this quarter was 22.5 billion, which was in fact down 12% year on year, and their gap net income was 1.2 billion, which was again down 16% year on year. So overall, they did not do great. In fact, it is one of the worst they have done in the decade in terms of revenue degrowth. It has happened because of multiple reasons. Overall slowdown in the economy because of Trump tariffs and whatnot, and regulatory credit which they receive that has gone down. So multiple reasons. But despite that, Tesla stock did not take a hit, and the reason for that is AI, because they are actually pivoting towards being an AI first company rather than they are in fact not even seen as an automotive company anyway. Otherwise, they would not be getting a P of 100. Versus if you look at other big techs like Mercedes and Toyota, they get PE of around 10 or so, and they are getting 10x the P, right? So that itself is interesting. Now, in terms of business model for Tesla, it is primarily divided into three categories. One is their automotive, obviously, which is the biggest segment. It gives them a revenue of over 70% of the total revenue comes from automotive only. So, we see the Tesla cars, even the FSD, the full self-driving revenue is also considered within that bracket only. They do not report it separately. Second is their energy generation and storage, which a lot of people do not know, but that is actually a very fast growing business segment. Uh, and what does that have? That has, they make these large battery storages, which typically store energy generated by wind and solar, and which can be then released during peak hours or during blackouts. So two main products there. One is Powerwall, which is used for small businesses or by homes. Second is Megapex, which is used by large utility companies, governments. It can power thousands of homes at a time. So they have this huge, backlog of the order for that. That is about 8 to 10% of their revenue. It is a high margin business, 30% margin they get from this.
Okay.
Third is the services business, which is their Tesla supercharging stations they have across the US and across the world, and their vehicle service and maintenance. So that is the third bucket. Now, that is
Maybe I
also,
just
by the
maybe
way.
just to just for my clarification, right? So this energy business, is
Mhm.
it just US based or it's
No,
globally spread out as well?
it is global, right? It is global. In fact, Australian utility companies also have huge orders for Megapack. So it is not just US, right? So they have their
Okay.
factory in Shanghai also, and they have their factory in US also. By the way, they also sell, solar panels and solar tiles which can be put on the home. That I think is they do not produce it. That is, produced under their brand. Their major focus is on energy storage, and energy itself is huge, and it is very
Yeah.
related to AI also. Imagine these huge data centers, right? They need a lot of energy, and they need to
Yeah.
ensure that they should have uninterrupted energy, right? So these megapacks and
Power. Yeah.
Powerwalls, they would be very, very beneficial for these data centers also, right? So that that
Yeah.
connection
Okay.
is certainly there as well. So which is why that space is,
Okay.
seeing huge growth. Now, uh, when we talk about how Tesla is pivoting towards being, AI, right? So they recently launched their robo taxis in Texas, which
Yeah.
they are now expanding into, California and other areas. Although it is not fully, unsupervised yet, it is supervised, but still they have launched it, right? And I'm sure the way Elon Musk goes, they will really scale it up very, very quickly, right? So
Yeah.
that is one. Second, they are doing a lot of trials on their humanoid robots, Optimus.
Yeah.
I think Optimus 3 is almost into production now, which is already being used in their factories very briefly. So that again is a very, very big theme in the AI world, right? So because AI is, another part of AI is, is robotics, and Tesla is seen as one of the leaders in that, right?
Yeah.
On humanoid robots. And very important thing is these Tesla cars, they are known for, they're advanced automation within the cars, right?
Yeah.
And they use these, AI4, AI5, AI6 is the latest chip. All these chips are manufactured in-house by Tesla. It is not,
Oh.
procured by anybody. So they manufacture them in-house, design them in-house. Very recently, this is, I think last week itself, they just had a big tie-up with Samsung, and Samsung will produce AI6, which is designed by Tesla but will be produced by Samsung, and Samsung is going to invest about $23 billion, if I'm getting the figure right, and putting up a huge factory in Texas to produce AI6 chips. Right, so these chips will be used in the cars and potentially will be used in their humanoid robots as well. So,
Yeah, so we all know, right, that Nvidia is the biggest chip maker in the world. So is Tesla not a customer of Nvidia?
mm, Tesla is, in fact, I was just coming to that. Tesla is doing a capex of $10 billion this year, right?
Okay.
They are going to procure 16,000 H200 GPUs,
Okay.
from NVIDIA,
From Nvidia.
right?
Okay.
So they are a huge customer, right? They are a huge customer,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they're also building their own chips. Same with Google. They are also
Yeah.
building their own chips at the same time,
Yeah. Yeah.
getting the chips from NVIDIA. Similar, right? But Tesla, if you think about it, they are, through and through fully integrated, right? They make everything in house in terms of Tesla cars, right?
Yeah.
So anything which goes in Tesla cars is not by Nvidia. It is made by Tesla, including the chips, right? But they have these supercomputers, Dojo and all, which are used to train their FSD. That Nvidia definitely has much, much superior chips for that. So they're certainly, taking those chips from that. So yeah, that's that. I think the focus there is, it will be interesting space to see how they do in robo taxis. Humanoid robots, we are yet to see more on that, but I'm sure from the 10 billion capex, it is clear that they are doing a lot there. AI6 chips, third, and they are building this huge AI factory with these new 16,000 H200 chips.
Okay.
So yeah, that will be interesting space to watch.
Certainly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was a brief on Tesla, Raju, and now over to you to know what is happening in Alphabet, aka Google.
Yep. Alphabet is another interesting one, right? Just from a valuation standpoint, it stands, I think, among the big tech also, it stands at a very low PE. That means it's relatively cheaper
Hmm.
compared to the other so-called big tech firms if you look at the stock. Uh, Again, what I would want to do is, just start by talking about the numbers very briefly in terms of the revenue and net income for this quarter. And then I'll talk about the key revenue streams, their key products and service offerings, and how the revenue split is across each of these, right? And then towards the end, I want to sort of focus on what are some of the big bets they're taking in AI, and also some of the risks that obviously is something that they're very aware of, and they're taking steps to sort of mitigate that. Uh, but as I mentioned, right, Alphabet being a big tech company and one of the leaders in search space, right? Looking at the revenue, they did pretty good actually this quarter. $96.4 billion, a 14% year-on-year growth in revenue. 28.2 billion net income, which is again a 19% year-on-year increase. So if you look at the revenues and net income, right, it's going up, contrary to the popular belief that the search business will be impacted and then it's downhill from here. Again, so these are
That's
broadly.
sorry interrupting you, Raju, but that's really counterintuitive actually, because even I thought, and it was everywhere, right? That search business is going to go down. Nobody does Google now. Everybody goes to LLMs, Chat GPT, and
Yeah.
Perplexity does the search, but that's apparently not
As
true.
as things stand today, it's
Mm.
definitely not showing any signs of slowing down in the search business.
Hmm.
As I said, right, let's briefly talk about what are their key revenue streams. So of course, we just talked about the Google search, which drives pretty much 65 to 70% of their revenues through advertising, right? If you look at it, there's almost a 12% increase in their search and advertising revenues,
Mm.
and they actually built a feature called AI Overview, which now summarizes Google's search results at the
Correct.
top, right? And they're saying
Yep.
there are already about 2 billion monthly users. It's rolled out in about 40 languages in 200 countries. So they are going big as well, in
Mm.
to ensure that the moat that they have in search and advertising is not compromised because of emerging threats from other companies. So search is doing well. Next revenue source obviously is YouTube, which all of us are so hooked onto for every little thing. Subscriptions is picking up in YouTube. YouTube ads is another source of revenue for them. Interestingly,
When you say subscription, you mean the premium
premium
subscriptions,
subscriptions, yes.
right?
And
Mm.
YouTube Shorts, you may have seen, is becoming so popular these days, right? So that is picking up as well. And the
Hmm.
YouTube ad revenue actually went up by 13%. So that's doing well. On an
Not
enterprise side,
surprised.
right?
Yep,
Google
not
Cloud,
surprised.
which yeah. So Google Cloud is doing really well. There's a 32% increase in its
Wow.
revenues, and with more investments in the data centers and cloud, Google is definitely playing the game to catch up with Azure and AWS, who are sort of market leaders in this space. And
Yep, yep.
investors are also keeping a close watch, especially on Google Cloud's business.
In fact, on Google Cloud, I was reading that Google is struggling to meet the demand. The demand is so
Yeah,
high,
yeah,
and they are having to
yeah.
do so much of capex that they are not able to keep up with the demand, and that shows 32%, increase in revenue.
Absolutely.
Meaning,
And
yeah.
and and that one,
Mm,
as I said, right, is really the interesting one for investors, and they're keeping a very close eye
mm.
on the Google Cloud business and how it does in future. Um, there are some other bets apart from those three, which is one of them is obviously Waymo, which is the self-driving
Yep,
equivalent
yep.
of Tesla for Google. Waymo did actually have a slight dip in the revenue compared to previous quarters, but uh, they still clocked about 71 million miles and are still expanding their operations very aggressively. So that will be another interesting
I
bet to look forward to
was
in future.
just Yeah, I was just reading that Waymo just crossed their 1 millionth ride,
Yeah,
and Waymo is fully unsupervised,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
robotaxi.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
And that is again, I think, something that we've been discussing about how Waymo. I mean, we all talk about the Tesla self-driving cars, but obviously Waymo is also picking up, and obviously will be something to look out for when we talk about Alphabet. Um, so, what are some key takeaways when I look at the report broadly and some of the commentary around it? Right, one big takeaway, and then everyone is discussing, is Google announced an $85 billion of capex for this year. So back in February, they
Wow.
had announced 75 billion. They increased by 10 billion more, and that clearly shows how they are going all in and going big time into it, right? So all of these $85 billion they're saying will be to increase their footprint in data centers, procure more chips, expand their infrastructure, especially on the cloud side, to support increasing demand. Like you said, right, they're not able
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
meet the demand, which means they need
Mm.
to expand their capacity, and that's where all these investments would go in the next year or so.
Just one comment there, Raju. So, when we say Google Cloud, that includes this. So, they are the largest competitors of AWS, right? So,
Yeah.
that is one. But their Google AI Studio, that also becomes an offering within the Google Cloud,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the Google Vertex
Mm.
offering that they talk about.
Correct.
So it comes as an integrated package for
Mm.
to build apps for enterprises.
Yep.
Gemini is really at the core of their offering. They're integrating Gemini into everything. So their AI overview that we
Mm,
just talked about, that is
mm,
powered by Gemini.
mm.
Gemini, they report, has now 450 million monthly active users around the world.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
And
I think they're second after ChatGPT, if I'm not wrong.
right, right. And it comes integrated in many new versions of Android phones. They're already offering Gemini as a
Yeah,
free
yeah,
service for the
yeah.
initial few months, right? So obviously it clearly shows how they want to onboard more and more users and drive active usage of Gemini over other apps.
Absolutely. I recently
Um,
just bought this Samsung S25, and it Gemini is all over, fully integrated into that.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, yeah.
They're also looking at integrating AI into YouTube to be able to personalize content for users, right? So to better produce, so to offer better content which is more targeted towards the viewer. Uh, they're doing all these
Just
good things.
one small anecdote, not anecdote, but just comment there. So because see, because of so many AI product content creation is becoming more and more easier, right?
Yeah,
And there
absolutely.
is this barge of content flooding YouTube as well, right? So I think Google made this comment recently that they will be watching that which content is fully generated by AI or
Yeah.
which content has some sort of a value add, really, some sort of creativity, right? So they might discourage, disincentivize, may not
Hmm.
really pay towards the content which is hardly doing any value add and just putting in videos or content generated by AI. So that
Yeah.
was just one thing I was reading. Mm.
That will be really another interesting thing to watch, how they will be able
Yeah,
to sort of
exactly.
distinguish
Yes,
between the
yes.
two, right? So,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because with these tools
Mm.
becoming so smart, I mean, it's really becoming difficult to distinguish what's real and what's AI generated. I mean, it will become more and more so, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at the risks, some of the risks, obviously, I think it's very obvious to
Mm.
everyone that their search business drives majority of the revenue. Now,
Mm.
with so many competitors launching AI-led search, for example,
Mm.
ChatGPT and even Claude and Perplexity and so on and so forth, it will become interesting how they will continue to generate revenue from their search, because obviously there will be people switching over to AI-led search. It's so much easier to get a summary than getting blue links in Google search, right? So how that
Absolutely.
behavior will impact, how that user behavior of switching to AI-led summaries will impact Google's revenue will be something interesting to watch. And the other one was obviously from an investor standpoint,
Mm.
the 85 billion capex. Investors will ask about the ROI
Yeah.
very soon, right? I mean, they'll ask, okay, you're spending all this money,
Mm.
where's the ROI on that? So those are two things that I think will be interesting to watch out. It will impact how that when they announce the results.
I'm sure. Yeah. In fact, for search, I recently started using Perplexity's Comet browser, right?
Yeah.
And I can see the value there. And
Hmm.
I have not been using Google at all the way
Yeah.
I have been using it because, see, most of us now don't go to google.com and type it. We just type in the search bar and then Google gives results. And now if you
Right.
type there, it goes to Perplexity directly. There are no sponsored links, nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it will have an impact, but Google is so big, right? So and they keep on expanding, keep on growing. But like you said, it will be an interesting space to watch as
Absolutely.
Perplexity Comet expands. Microsoft Edge recently announced they are also integrating, uh, AI into their browser. I'm sure Google will also have to do, but they might, if they do it, they might cannibalize their search business,
Correct.
their advertising business. So yeah, very very interesting space to watch. But so far, like from the numbers which you said, it is not going down. In fact, it is increasing.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, but we'll really have to keep track of that closely.
Right, and I think as the results season is upon us, I think there'll be more results
Mm,
coming out in this in
mm.
the subsequent weeks and the month or so. Maybe we should get together again and take a look
Yeah.
at the what the other firms are doing, and what are some of the bets they're taking in the next few weeks. What do you think?
Absolutely, Rajiv. Let's do that very soon,
Yeah,
because a lot of results coming out. So let's do that. It will be really interesting.
cool, awesome.
All
See
right,
you then.
let's chat again then, Rajiv. Yeah,
Sure. All
see ya.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah. Bye, bye.